Halloween.
Forever.
Steve.
Hello, Brian.
Hey, got one for you. Got some British jokes for you here. Ready? Okay, last one. If Stranger Things was actually a British series, what do you think they would call it?
It's Stranger Things, isn't it?
Close. Bit odd, isn't it?
Yeah.
All right.
Bit weird, isn't it?
Welcome, bit odd, isn't it? Welcome, boils and ghouls, to a undoubtedly fucking stupid Showdown episode of Halloween is Forever. I'm Brian.
I'm Steve.
Here we are. Guys, it's August. Holy dog shit. It is pretty much spooky season, if you ask me. Here we are, we're getting ready for our very final movie of the Christopher Lee Showdown. The very last one, as we mentioned, is we're going to talk about 1957's The Curse of Frankenstein, dang old Hammer classic. This one was submitted by our, my old buddy, but new patron buddy, Jim, our good buddy Jim Chaney. Let's jump into this son of a bitch. Obviously, we got a bit of a marathon here, Stephen. Are you still sipping on any wet ones? I refilled a wet one. Where are you at?
No, I finished my wet one. It's gone.
You're not wet. You're no longer slurping on a wet one.
I had my gas, and then I went to water.
Yeah, I'm slipping over to Pilsner Cal. I drank this beer so many times on the show. I'm wondering if I were to slurp on it into the microphone, you might actually even be able to tell what beer I'm slurping on, because that's how familiar it is to it's got to be to listeners by this point. All right. This is a film, Steve, I'm sure you're familiar with in some capacity. You've probably seen this before this viewing, right?
I actually hadn't seen it. Like, I was aware that it existed, but I had never sat down and truly watched it. In fact, it really just triggered something in me, because what I really recognize it from is there is a quote in the early goings of this film, and it's when the guy comes to visit Frankenstein in his cell, he says, Frankenstein is going, kind of batty, and the guy, he says, well, why don't we start from the beginning? And that immediately triggered me, because that is how the White Zombie album Astro Creep 2000 begins. And so I recognized it immediately from that, and I said, oh, hey, how about that? But from the opening song Electric Head Part 1, which is a song I do love. But yeah, it immediately switched something in my brain. I went, oh, neat. I know that.
Yeah. I recognize that as well. Listen, for those of you new to the show, big Bobby Zombo fans over here, mixed in terms of his movies, big fans of the tunes over here.
Yeah.
Yes, he does sample some dialogue, from this movie. So yes, we do get for those who, celebrate, we got a Bobby Zombo reference, which is a point right off the bat. This is I'm not a diehard Hammer fan. I like pretty much all the Hammer horror films that I've watched, for the most part. I really appreciate them, but I feel like you either grew up, as far as like monster kids are concerned, you either grew up with like number one being the Universal monsters, or being the Hammer monster flicks. And for me, it always has been and continues to be Universal for me.
Mm-hmm.
But I do think that, there's an entire, generation of people, and I'm sure many of them are British, but certainly even amongst our American horror fans who are hardcore Hammer horror film folks. This, as far as I know, again, not being nearly as knowledgeable about Hammer as opposed to Universal, I do think this is one of the first ones that really put Hammer and their kind of remakes, if you will, of the classic monsters on the map. And I think, correct me if I'm wrong, I think this is one of the first, if not the first, version of Peter Cushing and our man of the hour, Christopher Lee, showing up together and kind of kicking off their long, on-screen partnership.
Mm-hmm. Sure. I mean, I don't know where I would have picked up Hammer films, honestly. You're talking about there are two types of monster kids growing up, and I submit there's actually a third type, the Godzilla kid, which is what I was.
Oh, Godzilla kid. I thought you were going to say Trauma kid.
No, that was later.
Yeah.
But no, I was Godzilla kid.
No, I think that's fair. Fair.
Yeah, because I was much more of a Godzilla Harryhausen kid growing up.
Gotcha. I guess technically I was a Harry, because it was Universal and Harryhausen, because my grandfather was a big fan of both, but I saw all the Harryhausen stop motion stuff very, very, very early on as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I can't imagine where I would have seen the Hammer films other than that. Again, you said it's probably mostly British. And I just don't know. That's why they never crossed my path until, I started getting older, and then it was just like a pick and choose of what I watched. Yeah.
And I don't want to disillusion anyone out there in listener land, but neither Steve nor I are British, in case you couldn't tell. Yes, I am confirming here. Peter Cushing and Christopher Lee, shared the screen in over 20 films. Mm-hmm. A lot of them being, of course, Hammer film productions. But Curse of Frankenstein 1957 was kind of the big inaugural one. The first, I remember distinctly, the first one I saw was really right after this. I think they did like 5 or 6 movies together in the next 3 years. Within a couple of years, they did The Mummy, they did The Hound of the Baskervilles, they did Dracula, Peter Cushing being, of course, Van Helsing, and we talked about Christopher Lee being Dracula. And then Terrence Fisher, the director, known for directing 52 feature films, many of which were Hammer horror films. Dracula, Prince of Darkness, The Mummy, Curse of Frankenstein, obviously, Hound of the Baskervilles, Curse of the Werewolf, just Brides of Dracula. Anybody who is a fan of Hammer horror films will be familiar with one Mr. Terrence Fisher, just the silliest old British dandy that ever did direct films. As far as the cast is concerned, Peter Cushing plays Baron Victor Frankenstein. So he is kind of the star here. Also kind of the really the antagonist in many ways. We'll kind of talk about this and its comparison to obviously Mary Shelley's novel, because it is quite different. Take a lot of liberties here. I would go as far as to say they I don't know if it's fair to say, but they simplify things, right? Which I'm not opposed to whenever you're talking about taking a novel and turning it into a hour and a half feature film. You can't put every little detail in there, right? But they did simplify Victor Frankenstein's character in a pretty unique way. We'll talk about that as we jump into it. We've got Christopher Lee as not credited as Frankenstein's monster or the monster, but credited as the creature, which is, I thought, pretty interesting. And then we have Hazel Court, who plays Elizabeth. Again, similar relationship, but a little bit different. You know her from a lot of genre films, not only Hammer films, but she was in a bunch of Roger Corman flicks. The Raven, most notably.
She was in The Mask of the Red Death.
Mask of the Red Death. Yeah, she was in a ton of great Corman flicks as well. Just tons of films throughout the kind of, I guess, 50s, 60s, 70s. We have Robert, oh man, what a last name. Urquhart.
Sure.
Yeah, hell of a last name here. Who plays the character of Paul Kremp, which we'll get kind of we'll talk about like what he is kind of the proxy for as we get in. But he's got a pretty interesting, albeit also painfully British repertoire of films that he's in. Let me see. Anybody else particularly worth noting? Yeah, here and there, but I think those are the big players here.
Yeah.
So, also worth noting, first Hammer horror film in color as well. And I think it plays pretty damn well in color, especially some of the lab scenes. This movie has some of I think some of my favorite kind of mad scientist lab scenes. It feels like a dungeon with a bunch of damn beakers, and also they got a dang bathtub, like not even a bathtub. It's I want to call it a Yorkshire square, but nobody outside of esoteric British brewing techniques is going to know what the fuck a Yorkshire square is. But it is basically a little cement bathtub full of acid, which really comes in handy and plays into the plot quite significantly.
Yeah, I wasn't even aware of what that is. It's like, is that some sort of British cool ship type thing?
Kind of. It's just a square vessel made out of cement, a little deeper than a cool ship, significantly deeper than a cool ship, that is just for open air English ale fermenting. I think maybe like Sam Smith is one of the few breweries that still kind of tout the use of Yorkshire squares. But anyway.
Okay.
So, kind of also notable because in 1957, if you think about the timeline of some of the Universal films, obviously starting off with like Dracula and the Mummy and stuff, we're talking about the early 1930s. This is 1957. This is, atomic sci-fi, the height of atomic sci-fi. So kind of notable in that, at least for British moviegoers, revitalized a little bit of that classic, gothic horror in what would otherwise be dominated by, this atomic era sci-fi. Like I said, we got Baron Victor Frankenstein, played by Peter Cushing. Starts out with him in jail, and this priest comes to visit him. And is convinced to hear, an extended flashback, which this entire movie, for the most part, with the first few minutes and the last few minutes, everything is told in flashback. So he not only does he tell the story of why he's in jail and why he needs his help, he essentially tells his entire fucking life story to this priest. It's a very let's start from the beginning type situation, or at least start when his parents died and when he became a saucy little twink baron. And we see him, kind of taking care of the estate after his parents passed away. He's now in charge. He's got family members coming to him, ensuring that their kind of allowances from the family estate are still going to sustain them. And, he's, like I said, he's just a saucy little twink talking bunch of shit to everybody. And we get introduced to, he meets Paul Kremp, whom he has hired as a tutor, kind of under false pretenses a little bit. And Paul basically is this story's equivalent to Clerval in the novel and in some of the more faithful film adaptations.
Yeah, because I mean, just even going to the most recent Frankenstein from Guillermo del Toro.
Yep.
Like he has, it's actually, just Frankenstein's dad that is his tutor and teaches him everything that he needs to know.
Yeah.
Before he goes off to university. But this consolidates the father figure, the university scenes, and the best friend all into this one Paul Kremp character.
Yeah. Clerval, like his bosom buddy in medical school, but then also, his kind of professor and his, the guy who teaches him, all of his medical prowess and all that stuff. So it kind of becomes this like, the pupil becomes the teacher pretty quickly because he excels. Obviously, he's very intelligent. He also is really funny because when he meets Paul, I would say Victor looks to be, about 16 years old. And Paul looks to be, I don't know, 32. Now, let's even say 28, right? In 1970s British. And I know this is obviously set way farther back than that. And then the next scene, he and Peter Cushing are the same age. And Peter Cushing is clearly older, and they just make the actor who plays Paul just like they give him a little bit of gray, but it's funny because it looks like 40 years have passed for Victor, but only about 6 years have passed for Paul.
Yeah. Paul don't crack.
So we got to suspend a little disbelief here.
Whatever it is, Paul don't crack.
He does not. My God, he ages gracefully. So Victor, as we mentioned, kind of quickly catches up and then far exceeds Paul in terms of his, scientific exploits and age. Apparently, he's somehow caught up on age. And like I said, great laboratory scenes, a lot of like little bubbling beakers and smoke and, shit being powered by wheels. And I love it. Also the Technicolor 70s kind of Technicolor, just like really brings back a lot of great memories of seeing films from this era for the first time.
Yeah, it pops. I like how, again, I hadn't seen this one before. So like all this, they are kind of doing the atomic age, lab stuff. But it's also like, oh yeah, you can see how this somewhat inspired Del Toro. And I think even more so, I think this is inspirational for the Kenneth Branagh version with the way he had fucking electric eels bring him back to life. And they're doing something very similar here. They're like, here's my electrified bath.
Yep. Yeah. If you just make it a little bit more sweaty and steampunk, then you get the Branagh version, right? So in Mary Shelley's Frankenstein. Anyway, we get this like somewhat distressing scene of them bringing a puppy back to life. And then he just kind of goes wild with ambition after that, as any good Victor Frankenstein is apt to do, right?
Yeah.
We get a great scene of them grabbing the hanged man. And this movie, I have to imagine, having not obviously been alive in 1957 and not, seen this movie until, I don't know, 10 years ago, 15 years ago. It strikes me as having a little bit of an edgelord vibe for 1957.
Yeah.
This was like known for being like a gruesome film back then. Between the hanged man, the fact that they just have like severed prosthetics, prosthetics of severed body parts being shown. They allude to, dissolving, flesh off of bone in their little acid bath. We get those like severed hands and also like eyeballs, which appear to probably be real eyeballs as well. Like not human eyeballs, but like, animal eyeballs, perhaps.
Yeah, probably pig's eyes. As because we talked about that with Horror Express as well, that they just
same,
they're more likely just
they love that shit.
Snatched up some pig eyes from the butcher and like, yeah, whatever.
Yeah, probably very shocking stuff for the time. I mean, by today's standards, you probably see grosser stuff, walking the aisles of a I was going to say Kmart. Nobody walks the aisles of a Kmart anymore, but walking the aisles certainly of a Spirit Halloween.
Sure, yeah.
But these things got it an X rating in 1957 UK, which is crazy. So Elizabeth, whom is actually Victor's cousin in this version. She's a cousin here instead of Victor's, adopted sister, as she is in the novel. But she's still the love interest, which is, slightly creepier because it's actually a blood relative, where it's creepy in the novel, but it's technically not a blood relative. It is in this movie, or the assumption is like you get the feeling they're first cousins, so it is, I don't know, creepier in a different way.
They don't define it well. Is to what they mean by cousin, because it could just be like this the half adopted thing, like her mom was adopted by Victor's parents because I think she was like servicing as a maid or something within the estate, and then he lets her go, but also promises to keep paying her allowance, trust fund, whatever it be. And the mom in that scene is making some pretty strong allusions that she's promising her daughter, small Elizabeth, to 16-year-old, Victor. And it's like, that's kind of gross. You're not letting, again, arranged marriages are just gross to begin with. But, doing it for, a kid is even worse. And then, Elizabeth comes back, as an adult woman and is like, well, I'm here for my arranged marriage. It's time for us to be together, Victor. And it's like, now you're not just, we don't like Victor, but also you're not giving him a choice, like.
Yeah, she shows up like, I don't have a plan B. This is what I've been banking on, right?
Yeah.
So she just shows up and is like, I live here now. And he's like, wonderful, grand, this is all going to work out great. Paul is the only one who sees any type of issue with this, mostly because they're bringing, trying to bring reanimated corpses back to life in the basement, which is a difficult conversation to have with your newly minted incestuous fiance, but here we are.
I have the note. What do you call a lavender marriage when he's gay for mad science?
I don't know. What do you call it?
No, I know. I'm just asking. It's like, what do you call that?
Oh! I thought you had a punchline coming up.
Nope. It's just, I mean, the punchline is the Curse of Frankenstein, because he has no interest in being with her romantically, but he just, just takes her as a wife just to, keep up appearances and just do the societal norm of having a wife.
Well, I mean, he is throwing some dick around. Let's not be unclear about this.
Yeah. But I mean, that he banging out the help is not,
it's true.
Considered good. Proper it's in his social circles.
Victor is not concerned about appearances, that's for sure. Anyway, Elizabeth's going to live there. Paul's obviously worried about her finding out, about the experiments. Victor does not give a shit. Paul ends up taking a stand against Victor and his, basically like your experiments are dangerous. They're becoming increasingly deranged. So, he says, like, if Elizabeth finds out, her mind won't be able to take it. Like, like she's just going to go raving mad when she finds out, which is like, I mean, probably pretty shocking.
She might.
Yeah. But it seems to be partly for Elizabeth's sake, but also because he knows Victor is mad with power and ambition at this point. So like nothing good is going to come of this. Also, as we mentioned, Victor is slanging dick around the homestead. He is banging the maid and has promised to marry her. So he's making all types of unwise decisions. Also, the maid is clearly Alanis Morissette. I just want to say that. If you look up a picture of this maid, let's see who I did not look at the cast. We've got Elizabeth. We got Preacher, young Victor.
This is Valerie Gaunt.
Yes,
and boy, like, yeah, you like if you just go on her IMDb, like the second picture of her it's just her from this movie, and it's Alanis Morissette. So yeah. Yeah, it's extremely Alanis Morissette. Like I did not remember that from the first time I saw it, and I was like, holy dog shit. that is straight Canadian singer-songwriter Alanis Morissette. Yeah. She only has 4 credits. And 2 of them are some British shit before this. And then she was a vampire woman in 1958's Horror of Dracula. And then that was it.
Okay.
That was it.
Well, that's kind of ironic. Yeah. Don't you think? You see what I did there? Anyway, that's not the first, not gonna be the last Alanis Morissette pun. Victor invites because he finds he gets like hands from a sculptor. Like he's really taking the body part, trying to build the ultimate human type of thing. He, of course, with no motivation at all, invites this famous old scientist to stay with them, who coincidentally has no family and no one knows where he is. It's obviously, like, we know we have heavy suspicions right off the bat. He's obviously bringing him here specifically to murder him and take his brain. He does this by faking an accident, and like, you know, it's frankly a little bit of a harrowing scene, because he's like, oh, I'm just an old scientist, time to go to bed. And, you know, Victor's like, well, let me show you to your room. They go up the stairs, and, you know, the guy's just gushing about how great it is to, you know, visit his home and spend time with all these charming people. And Victor, very cold-blooded, which is the theme throughout. He is not the, oh, I messed up, I shouldn't have played God, now I'm trying to work my way out of this, you know, horrible situation and essentially being blackmailed by my own creation and all that shit that happens in the novel. In this, it is, I am a bastard.
Yeah.
And I am here to kill people. I don't give a shit in the name of my experiment. He is like, hey, look at this, before you go to bed, look at this painting by the balcony, you know, by the banister on the second floor. Oh, take a step back, and just shoves him through he's like, oh no, you're falling. Just throws him like through the railing. And it's actually a good fall scene. Yeah, it's pretty harrowing.
It's a very good fall. I guess my big problem with that is he throws him on top of his brain. That's the one thing he's going for. Like,
true. Yeah. I guess, like, yeah, that's a great point. I didn't even think about that. There's a lot of safer ways to kill him that run a lot less of a risk of damaging his brain than fall from heights.
Because I only bring it up because he makes a big fucking deal because of what happens next. And it's like, well, you threw him on his brain first, boy. So...
Yeah, that's true. I guess maybe he knew that he had Homer Simpson's skull and it was going to protect him, but he's old enough where it's just like, oh, it's going to break his neck, and he's good.
Yeah.
But anyway, that's a good point, because very next scene, Paul suspects immediately what has happened, and then he approaches Victor about it, who promptly doesn't even hide it anymore. He goes down to the crypt, and Victor is sawing into the recently, you know, placed into the you know, he says, like, you can put him in the family crypt, whatever. He was a guest in my house. He's obviously playing like he's very sad with the authorities and all that. And then you look down, and he's just sawing the old guy's, you know, head open to take his brain, or has already taken his brain. And Paul comes down to confront him. They argue, they do a little wrestling, and then the brain is damaged. And Victor shows a lot of concern about, oh my God, you're gonna stop, you're gonna damage the brain. But he had just thrown him from 20 feet up. The brain is damaged, as you might expect. Paul flat out just comes out and tells Elizabeth basically, like, you got to get the fuck out of here. Things are going sideways. But he doesn't tell her the whole way, which I don't understand. Just say it right at this point. But
yeah, I think he's I don't know, just maybe British proper prim. I don't know, whatever it is about them. I also just want to make note that the way the brain is damaged is Victor's carrying it in a sack that's also in a jar. And so they smash it on a wall, and then it gets glass in the brain, which honestly I don't think damages the brain that much, because it just makes the brain, the brain of an average British pub goer. They're getting glassed all the time. So, yeah.
That's true. So he went from like genius to just normal. Like the average, British person of the say a Victorian era British person probably had several shards of glass in their brain.
Yeah, for sure.
I'm imagining second Homer Simpson brain reference, but
crayon.
The crayon, in the brain, except for it's just a giant shard of glass or porcelain or something, right?
It says like a shilling, like on the glass.
Yeah. I mean, there was stuff's getting in the average person's brain at this point. So at the very least, he's bumped down to average, I think.
Yep.
So we get the first kind of big reveal of, he's trying to bring him back to life. Nothing happens. He leaves the laboratory, hears noises, comes down, and we see the monster, or in this version, the creature. And I remember seeing this for the first time, being somewhat confused, because that ain't a dang Frankenstein. That's a dang old mummy.
Yeah, it's a dang mummy when you first see it.
That's a dang mummy if I ever saw one. He's all wrapped up in the bandages. He's even got the bandages over his face. But we quickly get the face bandages revealed, and you get that very iconic shot of Christopher Lee pulling the bandages to the side. In the kind of doorway of the lab, and you see, interestingly, like, I think the Kenneth Branagh version, I think is probably the one that bears the most comparison in terms of the monster design too, because it does look very much like not a stitched together corpse like in Mary Shelley's Frankenstein. The Robert De Niro version, the original Boris Karloff version, it's a little stitched together and stuff, but it's not as much as Mary Shelley's Frankenstein. This looks like something that had been soaking in some dang formaldehyde for a while. Like, it's a little gooey faced.
Yeah, he is like got all kinds of prosthetics, and just like it's bubbling and boiling and like anemic in various ways, and he has like one big prominent stitch across the top of his head, and he's got a fucking milky eye. So he's all kinds of fucked.
Yeah, he's I would go as far as say a little bit more zombie corpsey than a lot of other versions. Less patchwork monster, more reanimated corpse, which is kind of cool. It's weird that a lot of versions have strayed away from that over the years.
Yeah.
But after a scuffle, they do subdue the monster, but he escapes, and he does the whole, again, they kind of do the Bride of Frankenstein thing a little bit, where he goes out and terrorizes a blind man in the woods, but he doesn't make friends with him. He just kind of wants to, but then the blind man's less open-minded than Bride of Frankenstein blind man. He's just more of like a, spooky douchebag.
Yeah.
He's just like, oh, a person? Oh no, don't kill me. And just like falls on the ground. We're like, dude, he didn't chill. Like, he didn't do anything to you.
Yeah. The creature is also less verbal, I think, because he's far more just grunting and like he's grunting and growling. Like the creature is actively aggressive is what it is. So again, just, your average British pub goer, glass full of brain, grunting, aggressive. But
not brain full of glass full of brain, which I like too.
So they're just kind of like they're tussling over this stick and they're fighting each other. But nobody's reacting well.
Yeah, no. There are two kind of brain damaged people arguing with each other, fighting with each other. Paul shows up and straight Mo Greens his ass in the woods. I mean, just shoots him right through the motherfucking eye. And then Victor's there.
My note says Paul says absolutely not. Just
yeah. Anytime anybody gets shot through the eye, I cannot not picture Mo Green.
Yeah.
From Godfather. They bury him right there in the dang old woods. But then they're like, okay, well that sucked, but all right, let's go back to our dandy little lives. And Vic's like, all right, sounds good. I'll meet you there. Turns around, immediately digs him up. And because you knew he was gonna, there's too much runtime left.
Yeah, duh.
So Alanis Morissette tells Victor that she's preggers. She's like, I'm with child. You promised to marry me. He's like, marry who? What are you talking about? Like, he just denies it.
Yeah.
He's such a dick.
Not only does he deny it, he also basically says something to the effect of like, and which innkeeper does it belong to? And just like alluding.
He also just flat out calls her a whore.
Yeah, like I think it's even more like it's something just like.
It's very derogatory. I don't remember. I didn't write it down, but it's very derogatory.
Yeah, it's very derogatory, but it is to the effect of like you can just go out and throw a stick at somebody and hit the father. Yeah. It was what he's getting.
Yeah, you couldn't swing a dead cat without finding some dude you banged.
Yeah.
Yeah. So he's being Victor is just a grade A bastard the entire movie, which is interesting because it's Peter Cushing. Mm-hmm. Who is usually a good guy, not always, but a lot of times he is. I mean, by today's standards, people think of him. Obviously, he's played some really big villain roles, but at this point, a lot of times he would have been a good guy. Well, maybe not, because he didn't play Van Helsing yet at this point.
No.
Maybe it's my bias, but it's just funny. To me, it's entertaining to see Peter Cushing being such a bastard. I like it.
Yeah. Like even when he's in Star Wars as Grand Moff Tarkin, which is what I think everybody would remember him from.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's his most recognizable role. Obviously, many, many years later.
He's not a bastard like this. Like he's just kind of your standard, like straight-laced Nazi is all he is in that movie.
Bureaucratic dick.
Yeah. This, he's really getting into it of being a fucking asshole. And
he's reveling in being a dick.
Yeah. And like we're saying, it's far different from the book because there is time in the book where, Victor is like reveling in his own genius of how smart he is, how awesome he is. But then he does have a conciliatory tone of like, oh, I fucked up. Please help. Anybody help? There's none of that here.
Yeah, the whole kind of third act, if you will, of the book is him like just like, I mean, being a little bit of a woe is me bitch because it is your fault, but like, he's obviously being kind of terrorized by his creation and being forced to, or being blackmailed into, creating a mate and all that stuff. In this, he's just like, he's at the top of his asshole game the entire time.
Fuck you, I'm the best.
Yeah. Well, then also his creature quickly kills the the housekeeper, the maid.
Oh yeah, well he locks her in there with it. He's like, here, you take care of this. He feeds her
basically. Now he gets killed off screen, so you don't know exactly what he does, but he obviously kills her, and basically feeds her to his creation after saying like, "Fuck you, I'm not marrying you," and also that ain't my baby.
Yeah.
Which is just such a dick move, and is I was gonna say is a bit of a jagged little pill to swallow, but I thought that was too on the nose, so I restrained myself.
Yeah, I mean, I'm glad you did, and I just thought you should know.
Shut the fuck up. All right, so Victor and Elizabeth. Oh, fast forward to Victor and Elizabeth's wedding day, or wedding day is approaching, I guess, at this point. And Victor is essentially training the creature to do just like what amounts to basically basic dog tricks. I feel like something you would train a dog to do. Like, it's not that impressive. Of course, he did reanimate a corpse and, you know, all that stuff. But he's just like, sit, stand. Like, you know, it's that's kind of the extent of it.
He's doing Frankenstein from Day of the Dead, training Bub. It's all he's doing.
Yeah.
Like,
he's pretty much Bub at this point.
Yeah, it is not like the most recent Frankenstein where he is trying to, you know, like educate him and, you know, bring him up to like this ultimate being. He is basically using like a toy is what he has.
Yeah.
He has this thing he's going to show off at science fairs. He's going to take it to Chicago one day, and it's going to, you know, break free and cause a ruckus.
Yeah. I mean, at this point, like, the only difference of him, you know, between him and Bub is obviously, you know, semi-automatic pistols didn't exist, so he wouldn't know what to do with that. But if you handed this guy just like a blunt object, he would just start like flogging a mule with it. Like, his brain just knows just the most basic reaction, you know, responses kind of thing, like sit, stand, and, you know, I don't know, drink beer, whatever the fuck British peasants do. So Paul does not appreciate all this, obviously. He threatens to go to the authorities, and Elizabeth stumbles upon the lab, finds the creature, and there's a bit of a roustabout, right? They're Elizabeth's running away. Paul's things are kind of coming down around Victor in a lot of ways. He's trying to, you know, calm Elizabeth down and also save her from the kind of rampaging monster at this point. And Victor, clearly no Doc Holliday, because he just straight up shoots his fiance in the chest. Like, it's marginally comical, but like, she's on like it's, I don't know if it's a balcony. I'm trying to reimagine it, but it's like
they're both kind of like on different balconies, because
she's elevated a little bit, if I recall.
Because I think you kind of the creature wasn't in the basement. I believe it's actually in the attic of the castle.
Oh, I guess maybe that makes more sense. Yeah, in my mind, I always think you know, it's a dungeon, you know, whatever. But yeah, you're right. It might be an upstairs.
Yeah, because she goes upstairs and finds the creature, and then it, you know, is chasing her around, and then Victor is up there as well because he realizes Paul had told her about it. So he goes up, grabs the pistol because he's going to blast the monster. But yeah, he just climbs out on this balcony, and then there's Elizabeth, and then the creature, you know, appears behind her. And my note is, and I started blasting.
He really did. He was shoot first, ask questions later. He pulls it up, shoots her what appears to be right in the chest. I think he kind of wings her, hits her in the shoulder or something. Because I won't spoil it, but like, you know, he hits her in the shoulder. And then eventually fine, I think it's like a flintlock pistol, so it's not like he's like pumping rounds into him.
Yeah,
final little
he has 2 shots. He shoots her once, shoots the monster once, and then throws the pistol at the monster.
Oh yeah, I forgot. Classic like pirate, flintlock technique.
Yeah.
You miss, you just wing it at him like a boomerang. But eventually he actually gets him with an oil lamp. He throws the oil, again, a very old timey way of setting somebody on fire, just smashing an oil lamp over them. It is funny to think that in for hundreds and hundreds of years, basically everyone just had Molotov cocktails just posted around their homes. It's kind of crazy. But he hits him with the oil lamp. He sets him on fire. He burns. He ends up falling. Is it through the floor or is it? I think it's through the floor, right?
It's through a skylight and then into.
Oh, it's a skylight. That's right. Because he lands in the acid bath. Mm-hmm. Classic, perfectly placed vat of acid. So back to the present. With the priest in the jail, and which you have to assume is only hours after all of this happened, right? Perhaps days. I don't know if they say, but not long after all this happened.
I think it's been maybe a couple weeks because he had like Peter Cushing's hair.
He does have a beard.
Yeah, he has a beard. So I think it's a couple weeks after, but yeah, it's not too long after this.
It's not distant future. He's in jail. Things are still very fresh at this point. And basically Victor needs Paul to corroborate his story about how the maid died primarily. And because Elizabeth is fine, by the way. We saw her get shot. She's cool. She's good. The monster fell into a vat of acid. No trace of him, but they found the corpse of the maid. So he's being pinned. The murder of the maid is being pinned on him. And Paul refuses to tell them, what happened, and basically just cucks Victor so hard. He's just like, I don't know what you're talking about. And then just pieces out with his cousin fiance.
Yeah. It's just like, man, I feel so bad that you've lost your mind in such a way. But none of that ever happened. Goodbye.
Yeah. That's what you get for catching up to me so quickly in age.
Yeah.
And then we end with a scene of Victor, being led to the gallows to be hung for his, although for like the one crime he didn't commit, although you could argue he facilitated the murder of the maid by locking her in a room with a deranged murderous monster, but he didn't actually kill her. In any case, he's being led to the gallows. So this and that's the end. Obviously garnered 90 more sequels, and as we mentioned, kicked off a long and illustrious and celebrated on-screen partnership between the man of the hour, Christopher Lee, and Peter Cushing.
Yep. I like how kind of mean this movie is, and that it does stray from the source material. Like the fact that it ends on just a credit crawl as the blade of the guillotine is raised. Like we're not on that fucking Arctic ship. This is a different Elseworlds alternate universe Frankenstein.
Yeah. It quickly, it doesn't, aside from the setup and some of the characters and proxies of the characters, doesn't have an enormous amount to do with the source material, but that's okay. I mean, we're used to that, right? Peter Cushing is phenomenal in this. Like I said, he steals the show. He is just such a rat bastard, which I love seeing a little squirrely Peter Cushing just being a prick. We love that. One bit of criticism I will say is Christopher Lee is barely in it.
Yeah. We've talked a lot about Peter Cushing, but
yeah.
uh-oh. That's not what we're doing.
I think it's the elephant in the room. I think when people think of Christopher Lee movies, this will undoubtedly come up because it is such an iconic creature, especially in the Hammer catalog. We talked about very iconic image of the monster, especially that quick zoom of him when he first sees him reanimated. But he has 0 lines. He does some great physical acting as any good, creature will do, but he does not have any lines. And when I think Christopher Lee, the first thing I think about is he's got such a great voice.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, all-time great voice. His line deliveries. I mean, I'll use your movie, but like Horror Express, think about some of the line deliveries in that movie. And the dialogue in some of that movie is fucking stupid as fuck.
Yeah.
But the way he delivers the lines is so good. And it's just to not have him have any line deliveries is a little bit of a miss. No, it's not a miss for this movie. It's just I wanted to, in a Christopher Lee focused movie, when we're trying to, see Christopher Lee and celebrate Christopher Lee, it is a little bit of a miss.
Yeah.
If he had a ton of screen time, I'd be forgiving of it, but he just doesn't have a lot of screen time.
Yeah, because they basically nerf all of that like side story stuff, like we were talking about with the blind guy, like that ends in him getting shot in the head. So it's
which is a great scene. It's maybe the best scene in the movie.
Yeah, it fucking rules. I do like his portrayal of the creature because it's not sympathetic, and he's not just doing, "Ooh, I'm a scary monster." Like he is pathetic in a lot of ways, but not pathetic in a way that you like really care. Like it's a pathetic in a like you should destroy that. Like destroy that thing. Don't let it be. Ugh. You're doing things that should bring God back if he existed.
Yeah. I mean, it's a really fun movie. I would say it's top. There's a lot of great Man, that'd be a fun thing to do, is go through and rank all the Frankenstein movies, or all the Frankensteins.
And the Frankenstein.
Yes. There's no way for October there's no way we're not going to do Frankenstein.
We'll do a Frankenstein.
I mean, come on.
Let's do a Frankenstein.
All right. Let's do a Frankenstein. I love it. And we'll do let's do 100. Let's get down to the erotic rites of Frankenstein. Have you ever seen the erotic rites of Frankenstein?
Watching that.
It's not as bad as it sounds. But yeah, we could go real deep on that.
There's that Spanish language Frankenstein movie that's showing in the last matinee. That's bad.
Yeah,
it's bad, and we can rank that.
There's a lot. There's the Frankenstein as a kaiju. There's tons of Frankensteins out there. What's the one where Frankenstein's a kaiju? Where he's like 200 feet tall. Obviously, it's a Japanese. I think it's a. I don't remember, actually. I might be wrong about that. It might not be a Toho film. Maybe it is. I don't know. You know what I'm talking about? The one where Frankenstein's a giant kaiju?
Vaguely. There was the giant Frankenstein that's in Power Rangers that did do that.
Well, there's that, which I think is definitely influenced by this. Frankenstein versus Baragon, 1965.
Oh, okay.
That's Baragon fighting at what is you could argue that it's maybe a caveman, but it's got a dang Frankenstein head for sure.
Oh yes.
That's
right.
Beside the point. This is up there for me. I really like this movie. I just don't know that it's the most Christopher Lee centric pick for me tonight. I actually thought about picking this movie. I think we even as we were texting back and forth about hey, what are you going to pick? Whenever we picked our movies, and then you said, the Patreon group picked pick Curse of Frankenstein. I said, I love that movie, and I watched it because I thought it was going to be my pick. And then I realized there's not a lot of Christopher Lee in it. And so I moved away from it. But
yeah. And you wound up picking the other Patreon pick of Wicker Man. Like those.
Well, I knew, you know me, I love to self-sabotage. I love to know what the right pick is and then go, no, let's do something weirder. And then I lose. That has been my MO for the last 2 years. But this time I said, now Wicker Man, I love Wicker Man. I got to talk about Wicker Man. This is going to be my best opportunity to do so. So anyway, before we get into recapping the three movies or kind of refocusing on the voting situation, any final thoughts from you on Curse of Frankenstein?
No, I think it's one, if you haven't seen it, go watch it because of all the ways you can see how it's influenced the more recent Frankenstein movies that have come out. Like the character design and the way the creature is brought back is full on in Mary Shelley's Frankenstein. And then Guillermo del Toro's Frankenstein is just so full of references to every Frankenstein before it. You can just sit and pick that movie apart all day if you want. But other than that, no, I if this was a best of Peter Cushing, this would have been a strong contender because I do love seeing him just sink his teeth into being an asshole. He's fine as a protagonist and as a Van Helsing type, or in my film he's just kind of like a little shitty doctor. He has an attitude, but he doesn't get to fully pop off like he does in this film. So yeah, agreed. I think this is one of my favorite Peter Cushing performances, and a great performance for Christopher Lee. Just not a lot of opportunity to really show off his stuff and show off his fantastic ability to grow facial hair. All right, how do we want to do this here voting situation? Well, I mean, we can just go the way we presented, and you go and then I go, and then we'll see what we think about the patron. Because I mean, the thing is, Jim isn't here to defend his pick or pick a winner. So
right.
So yeah, we'll see where we come. All right. We'll see where we come out with our votes and whether or not we have to go to the audience poll.
All right, fair enough. So I went first with the Wicker Man, so I will vote first, and I'm going to stick with Wicker Man for my first movie, my first favorite here. Like I said, this is I'm not going to say it's a top 10 favorite film of all time for me. I think that would be crazy, but if I had to make top 100, it would certainly be on there. Maybe even 50. I don't know, but I like this movie a lot. I think it's got some a really unique Christopher Lee performance in that he is not he's kind of more of like a new age slightly psycho kind of guy. He's not like this kind of gothic thing. He's not this prim and proper, British guy or necessarily like a badass or anything like that you see him in a lot of films. He's just this weird, eccentric guy that's kind of got his tendrils and everything in this small community. And you see, he's just weird from beginning to end, whether it's, him kind of from afar, or it's him just wandering around his weird ass mansion in ornate kilts, as people dance naked around small versions of Stonehenge in his courtyard, or whether it's him, doing the crazy hair, arm dance, or him dressed in full, almost looks like Sally from Nightmare Before Christmas drag.
Yeah.
At one point when he's dancing around, it's just you get all the faces of Christopher Lee in this movie. and yeah, it's a classic of folk horror. So I'm going to stick with the Wicker Man. As far as my second pick, I'm a little torn because I think if you said which movie do you prefer, Curse of Frankenstein or Horror Express, I'm going to say Curse of Frankenstein. I think it's more entertaining. But it doesn't have any Kojak, which I know is an issue. But I think it's a little bit more of a cohesive film. And Horror Express is kind of all over the place. It definitely drags in spots. You're getting key characters introduced in the third act. Like, there's a lot of weird shit with Horror Express. Horror Express
I would argue Captain Kazan is not a key character. It's just Telly Savalas.
What?
He's not a key character. He doesn't affect the outcome of the movie. The outcome.
I mean, he definitely sets things in motion.
He sets things in motion, but like you could just as easily kill a whole bunch of people on that train and reanimate them without them being Cossack soldiers that just happened to board the train. He's not a key character. It's just Telly Savalas is that damn good.
He is. My point is, it's a little bit of a meandering film, with definitely some plot issues, and the monster, albeit a cool concept, is executed kind of shitty. The makeup, the mask, the whole thing's like, I love all the lore around him, all the things he does, the glowing eyes, and he's kind of like takes over people. He can jump from people to people. I like all that. I like that it's an ancient fucking alien. I think that's all cool. I just think it looks bad.
Yeah.
Like at first you're just like, that's just a gorilla arm. What is it? Is this an Abbott and Costello movie? Like, what the fuck? You know what I mean? With the gorilla arm. But overall, got some goddamn quality Christopher Lee. You know, I love Christopher Lee in Horror Express. I love his mustache. I love his fucking tweed jackets. I love him just being a dick and just you know, kind of steamrolling everybody. So I think I am going to go Horror Express just because for the strength of the Christopher Lee material. But like I said, I do think I like Curse of Frankenstein more as a movie, but because it's a Christopher Lee episode, I got to go with Horror Express.
Yep. I do want to point out, Brian, I think you forgot that the monster also has Viewmaster blood, where you can see dinosaurs in his blood.
I did not forget that.
Okay.
That is perhaps the dumbest fucking thing in the world.
Right. And I just, you know, I know you did pick my movie, but I just want to point.
His blood cells, his individual cells in his blood are Viewmaster slides.
Yes. You see a pterodactyl.
That is not something you see every day. And that is not ironic. No. That is just it's a cold hard fact.
For me, I'm sticking with Horror Express, even though it is wildly stupid sometimes. It should, you know, it's a fun creature feature flick. I didn't find that it dragged, just because I think they populated it so well with like different characters, like Agatha Christie characters, like we talked about previously. And I don't know, those movies on their own are my bread and butter. So,
yeah.
But yeah, obviously Christopher Lee's performance is great. It's cool seeing him. Like, usually when him and Peter Cushing are sharing a movie, one of them doesn't get to shine as much as the other. Like, when he's doing Dracula, Lee does a lot of staring and a lot of like grumpy face, but he's not on camera as much. You know, like in the Satanic Rites of Dracula, they have some cool showdown scenes between the two of them. But Lee's just simply not in the movie as much. You know, probably to the same level that he's in Curse of Frankenstein, but at least he has lines in Satanic Rites. But
yeah,
in this movie, you get to see them both play off of each other and like the I don't know, the Some Like It Hot, when they're doing that kind of bit, fighting over the bunk beds in front of in front of the hot spy, like it's such a charming thing that you don't see anywhere else in any of these other films. So yeah, but yeah, other than that, I like, that's why I'm sticking with Horror Express, because it has some of the best Christopher Lee work. He gets to do work against Peter Cushing, but also as a general movie, you can't miss the Telly Savalas just wiling out. I
get it. It definitely adds to me. I was really starting to get bored by this movie until Telly Savalas showed up, and then I was like, hot damn, I'm back. You got me. You reeled me back in.
It's like they fucking squeezed lighter fluid on a bonfire that was going out. The way he shows up.
Yeah, he does.
Yeah.
It was really dragging, and then all of a sudden I was like, ooh, hot damn, here we go. Now we're partying.
But yeah, so for that reason, I'm sticking with Horror Express as my first vote. And like you, I think I would have picked Curse of Frankenstein if we were just going off of entertainment. Like, Curse of Frankenstein, like, books as far as pacing, great performances for such a small cast, and it's a unusual telling of the Frankenstein myth while still being purely Frankenstein. It's not like a secret hidden Frankenstein that a lot of adaptations do. But it is, it has a lot of all that fun Atomic Age stuff, and all the stuff that you see inspiring, and like, Christopher Lee's performance is good, but just not on screen enough. I would have picked this movie. I would have picked Curse of Frankenstein otherwise, because I frankly find Wicker Man just an obnoxious movie. Like, I don't like. I
can't help but think you are putting too much emphasis on how much you hate the music.
It's so prevalent. It's so much of that movie. It's fucking folk music over the opening credits, and then folk music. They're walking through the villages, and it's like, God, enough. And just it stinks, and I don't need it. I like a lot of the things in that movie. There's some good performances. Christopher Lee's performance is unhinged. It's fantastic. It's unique compared to the rest of his oeuvre. I just generally don't like watching that movie, especially after knowing what the turn is. Then I'm like done with it, because I'm just sitting around watching goddamn folk music, waiting for the turn that I know what the answer is.
I think I have found an aversion. I mean, I know we know each other well enough that I would never have pinned you as somebody who enjoys folk music. I know you like just like a more intense, metal and stuff like that. But I did not realize until this episode that it was such a kryptonite for you. And now I am going to take that and play it to my advantage.
It's specifically this type of British folk music that I just find, like, American folk music I like. If you made a remake of this and it was fucking Tom Waits singing, sure, man, I'm all in for that. If it's just, like Appalachian bluegrassing, I could be in for that. I can't pin it down, but goddamn British folk.
That one song about the corn and the barley and all the shit talking about.
Corn rigs and barley rigs sucks my ass.
That's what it is. Corn rigs and barley rigs. Yeah, that's a tough one. It's a tough one. But for me, I think it fits the vibe a lot of this new agey, because when I hear that type of even certain like Simon and Garfunkel songs remind me very much of this like 70s new agey type of I don't know, obnoxious folk, the type of folk that in Animal House Belushi smashes the guy's guitar. against the wall, the type of folk he would play.
Yeah, that
right.
Yeah, that shit activates the Blutarsky in my brain. Like,
yeah.
So,
yeah. No, I get it.
Yeah.
I get it. I didn't realize how susceptible you were to it, and I fully anticipate using that to my advantage in the future.
I don't know how you could, but.
Yeah, well, you're about to fucking find out, guy.
Yeah. With all that,
here's the question.
With all that being said, my second vote will still go to the Wicker Man. It is it is the better Christopher Lee performance, undeniably, compared to Curse of Frankenstein.
Sure.
Just far more range, far wilder. So but I could go the rest of my life without ever watching that movie again. And I will probably watch Curse of Frankenstein like anytime I'm on Tubi looking to go to bed.
Sure. All right. Fair enough. All right. So I voted second pick for Horror Express. You voted second pick for The Wicker Man. So where does that leave us for voting on the social media? Just tell the boils and ghouls what to do.
So with all that, we've solved nothing, and because the patron who picked this film isn't here to represent his film, what we're going to do is we're just going to turn it over to our social media with voting on Instagram polls, and patrons get an extra vote on patreon.com/HalloweenIsForever. But there's also a Discord poll that is open to the public as well. So you got 3 ways to vote. 4, if I remember to go on Threads, the most insane app ever invented. But check out.
Who the fuck is on Threads, by the way? What type of psychopath is on Threads right now?
The most insane. I cannot open that app without seeing the most insane things. Dan in the Patreon chat just said him, and I know I've seen him like our fucking posts when they get up there sparsely.
I went on Threads like twice, and I was like, this is Mad Max shit.
Yeah. Yes. I don't know how you survived the wasteland, Dan, but I'm glad you like it. There are people cutting
each other's throats for gasoline on Threads. It's chaotic.
Yeah.
But go on there. On just social media in general, right? Or if you are a Patreon subscriber, you can go and do it on there, or you can go on the Discord poll as well and vote on there. But if you are a patron, you get an extra vote. All right, so we will reveal in the coming weeks who the winner is. And then ultimately, who gets to hand out that son of a bitchin' punishment at the end of the month. So we're excited about that. All right. Well, check us out over on the social medias as always. If you've got, again, I can't stress enough. We actually use listener suggestions for if we have like August, an extra Monday where we've got an opportunity to do another little silly mini-sode. We take listener suggestions quite frequently. Also, if you have potential topics you want to add to the spinny wheel, if you've got Halloween movies you want to add to the Wheel of Ween, we're going to be spinning that in September for our October showdown. Do all that stuff on the social media. Slide into the DMs, or you can shoot us an email at halloweenisforeverpod@gmail.com if you want to send one of them old-fashioned emails. All right. Anything else, Stephen, before we wrap up this indecisive showdown?
Nope. That's it. We've come to no consensuses.
Yeah, not yet. I wanted to mention a real weird ass movie just to leave on a I don't even know if it's a high note. But I watched a movie last night. And I'm going to Google, bear with me, oh my God, why now I'm blanking on fucking shit. Hold on. I thought I knew the title, but now I have it wrong. Hold on, let me go to my watch list.
Who was in it? What'd they do?
So I wasn't far off. The title, so first of all, it's Adam Green, which most folks would know from the Hatchet films. and Frozen as well, which is great. It is a movie from 2014. I won't say it's awesome, but I will say it's unique. And I don't know how many, especially if you're going to hate it, Steve. It's found footage.
Cool.
But it's fourth wall breaking kind of found footage, because it co-stars Adam Green as himself, and also Ray Wise, who everyone would know from Twin Peaks and Twin Peaks Fire Walk with Me and just David Lynch things in general. But he plays Laura Palmer's dad, which I can't, Leland Palmer, which the fourth wall breaking. It's a fourth wall breaking mockumentary found footage film. You're gonna fucking hate it, Steve. But it stars Ray Wise, who's very recognizable. So it's kind of like takes you out of a little bit, but it's really, really unique. And the last 10 minutes, 15 minutes take one of the fucking wildest twists I've seen in a long time. So it's called Digging Up the Marrow, from 2014. So I'll leave you with something fucking weird to watch tonight if you're just dissatisfied with no decision here. Go check that out. Maybe you'll get even more pissed at me. But it's I thought it was kind of fun.
Yeah, I might check it out. I don't know. Like if it's a mockumentary and it's in the hands of somebody who knows how to direct a movie, I can probably get behind that. Also, just tagging that on, if you're not ready for that movie from 2014, you can go back to 2011 and Adam Green's The Diary of Anne Frankenstein.
Yeah, maybe that'll go on the old Frankenstein episode. We'll see. If you're not in the mood for something real fucking dumb like that, another thing I watched this week, which I hadn't watched before, but is really fucking fun. Did you watch? This came out just a couple years ago, maybe. Onyx, the Fortuitous, and the Talisman of Souls.
Oh yeah, that's a lot of fun.
Yeah, that's a surefire. If you're looking for something fucking weird, take a little risk, short runtime, check out Digging Up the Marrow. If you want a surefire, but also you're like, okay, I'm going to sit through something that's probably close to 2 hours. 2023. Andrew Bowser, Onyx, the Fortuitous, and the Talisman of Souls. So much fun. Those are my standout watches of the week. Thought it worth mentioning at the end of the episode here. Anything else before we wrap up this here showdown?
No, that's it.
All right. Well, for the Halloween is Forever crew, I'm Brian.
And I'm Steve.
And I am not going to marry that whore that cleans my house. All right, bye.